It's interesting to know that. So I guess like the trust anchor could start setting some governance of, um, I don't know, based on the role or there's even types of data you could request. So it could be pretty dynamic, I guess, um, downwards. Do so if we look in a trust chain, and maybe we could take a simple one like in the open banking. So the regulator would kind of make some claims or some statements as a trust anchor, for example, at the top. And the whole idea is that there's legislation in the respective country that says the banks need to start exposing some APIs to the ecosystem of innovators and fintechs and whatever. Um, and so I start to have different roles now. Like we have the regulator, whatever body that is, or could delegate the federation trust anchor within the country in question. You would have the banks in there. You would start to have which would be, I guess, relying parties in this case. You would have fintechs that would need to ask for access to API type of thing. Um, do all the parties need to make claims about each other? Like, do all of them need to be running on this federation standard to be part of that chain, or could the whole thing kind of be bootstrapped from the top down by the trust anchor? Like, how much involvement needs to happen from each party within a trust chain under the OpenID Federation model?
So that depends how you use which, because every ecosystem would need to create their own profile of OpenID Federation. OpenID Federation is quite a complicated spec. I see the typical open banking profile being a simplified version of that. And my personal idea would be definitely to simplify what relying party, what a fintech would need to do. So the majority of the work is done by the trust anchor, should be done by the trust anchor in this space to endorse it. And relying parties or small fintechs, they shouldn't be doing too much. Because this is where the way I see federation evolving is potentially some of the entity statements not being hosted by each of the parties, but being hosted centrally. Essentially replicating the trust registry as it is right now. Because what you do right now is you actually call a central registry with give me the list of participants or give me the information about this participant. That's how it works right now. Changing those interfaces to OpenID Federation, and that's a current assumption that I'm making, which might evolve, will potentially be simpler especially for interfederation communications, to be hosted by the central entity.